A strange silence runs through the New Testament, and it points straight to the last days. Sometimes the loudest message in Scripture is the one God never says out loud. And when it comes to the temple, the center of Jewish worship, prophecy, sacrifice, and end-time events, the New Testament is almost completely silent. There's no command to rebuild it, no instruction to prepare for it, no hint that the church has anything to do with it. And yet, Jesus, Paul, and John all assume a functioning temple in the last days. So today we're going to decode that silence, because it's not a gap, it's a boundary line. Let's start with the obvious question. Why doesn't the New Testament ever tell Christians to rebuild the temple? We're told to preach the gospel, and we're told to make disciples. We're told to gather, to pray, to endure, and to watch. But rebuild the temple? Not once. And that's odd, isn't it? Especially when the temple plays such a massive role in end times prophecy. Jesus predicted its destruction and then pointed to a future desecration. Paul described the Antichrist sitting in it. John measured it. So the New Testament is silent, but it's a strategic silence that is intentional. The key insight is the temple is not the church's assignment. It's Israel's assignment. The church age is a parenthesis, a mystery revealed but temporary. Daniel's 70th week is Jewish. The tribulation is Jewish, and the temple is Jewish. And the New Testament silence reinforces that the church is not the one who rebuilds it. This is one of the strongest supports for the pre-trib rapture. So, the church doesn't rebuild the temple. The Antichrist confirms a covenant involving the temple. The temple is functioning early in the tribulation. Therefore, the church is already gone. The silence is not an oversight, it's a boundary line. It's a clue to our being raptured. The New Testament silence marks the boundary between our assignment and Israel's. The third temple is built after the church is already gone. So we're not going to see the temple, and with all the discussions happening around the red heifers and planning for the third temple, we know the time is getting close for our rapture, the rapture of Christians. Even though the New Testament never commands the temple to be rebuilt, it gives us three major prophetic anchors. Number one, Jesus predicted a future desecration. Matthew 24:15 assumes a physical temple standing in the last days. 2. Paul predicted a future occupation. 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 3 and 4 describes the Antichrist sitting in the temple. And number 3, John predicted future measurements. Revelation 11, verses 1 and 2 shows a functioning temple with worshipers. None of these passages tell the church to build it. They simply assume it's going to be built. That's the prophetic power of silence. The New Testament does not instruct Christians that the temple will be rebuilt for them. A physical, literal third temple is for the Jews. This is where the news becomes important, because while the New Testament is silence, the world is not. Right now, Jerusalem is experiencing renewed archaeological discoveries, increased Jewish access to the Temple Mount, political pressure over sovereignty, and religious revival among young Israelis, and growing talk of temple readiness. And that's where these headlines come in. Ancient pilgrimage road leading to Temple Mount opens after 13 years of evacuations. This headline reminds us that the physical landscape of Jerusalem is being uncovered, literally in preparation for what Scripture says must come. Israel police loosen Temple Mount prayer restrictions for Jewish visitors. This is huge. Jewish prayer rites on the Mount are shifting, something that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. When Jews allow themselves to be Jews, the world takes note. The Temple Mount visitation shifts dramatically. This headline shows a spiritual awakening happening in Israel, a renewed boldness connected directly to the Temple Mount. The delicate status quo at Jerusalem's holiest site is being tested. Even Time magazine is acknowledging what prophecy watchers have seen for years. The status quo on the Temple Mount is being tested in ways we've never seen before. Is the third temple about to be rebuilt? Signs are emerging. This headline captures the growing prophetic expectation, not just among Christians, but among Jews, politicians, and even secular commentators. Let's bring this home. Why is the New Testament silent about rebuilding the temple? Because the church is not the builder, Israel is. Because the church is not present during the covenant of Daniel 9:27, Israel is. Because the church is not the target of the Antichrist's desecration, Israel is. The silence is a prophetic fingerprint, a clue that the church age ends before the temple age resumes. So here's the takeaway. The silence of the New Testament is not passive. It's intentional. It tells us the temple will be rebuilt. The church won't be here when that happens. The stage is being set right now, and Jesus is coming soon. So we can be joyful in knowing we will be raptured any day. So if you've been watching the news and wondering why everything feels like it's accelerating, it's because it is. The prophetic clock is ticking. Israel is awakening. The Temple Mount is stirring, and the New Testament's silence is speaking louder than ever. Jesus is coming. Let's be found faithful. If you got something from this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts.